Welcome back to the Hero's Journey podcast. You are tuning into episode number 21. I'm your host, Nick, and I've got 10 more comics that I've been looking at this week that I'm happy to go over with you. Let's see what those are. First up, we have Police Comics number 24 from Quality. We're into November of 1943, the golden age of comics. Clearly Plastic Man issue. I always love Plastic Man. He's goofy, he's fun, pretends to be a crook. This guy's awesome. In the Plastic Man story, Plastic Man must get to the bottom of a tire stealing epidemic and then deal with dozens of plastic men designed to frame him for robberies. But they're not made of the same quality of rubber as he is. That's the crux. In the Human Bomb story, he helps Eustace win a boxing match to win back his girlfriend. Now, Eustace Throckmorton is sort of like the Human Bomb. Human Bomb uses his hands to blow things up. Eustace was injected with some of the same serum or got some blood from Human Bomb, and it's his feet that caused the explosion. So, good times there. The most recent CGC sale that I could find was 7.5 from July of 2020 for $312. Seems low to me. Fun cover, purple, but maybe I have a soft spot for Plastic Man. Next up is Sensation Comics number 23 from DC, November 1943. It's an okay cover. I mean, usually I like the line work on these. I find this one, the faces of the characters, maybe some of those bodies aren't drawn the best, the perspective. Not my favorite Wonder Woman cover for Sensation Comics, even though, nothing too exciting going on. You got a cop eating some fruit in the background there. All right, not my favorite cover. Wonder Woman is tasked to investigate war laugh mania, where factory workers and war plants are having bouts of uncontrollable laughter, which slows down production. Boy, those Axis spies will do anything to slow down production by making people laugh. And then Mr. Terrific recovers some solid gold toy soldiers to be used for the war effort. Now, they were painted, so the bad guys didn't even know they were solid gold. Crazy. Wildcat uncovers a scheme to kidnap suitors for a wealthy debutante and have them work as slaves in a mine. So this wealthy debutante is just a front, and she just tries to attract a wealthy suitor, but they keep getting kidnapped, and they work as slaves in a mine. She didn't know where the suitors were going. She was just so sad because she was all alone. Recent CGC 5.5 sale for March 2020 for $396. So next up, Star Spangled Comics number 26 from DC 1943. It's an okay cover. You got a gun being pointed at Guardian. I'm not a big fan of the style of art. The faces on some of those Newsboy Legions look like they're, what are they, melting? I don't know. They're so off. It's terrible. I don't like it. All right, you got the Guardian who gets involved when the Newsboy Legion accidentally come into possession of some plates for printing counterfeit money. And the Star Spangled Kid stops the hoodlums who steal from charities and community funds. Big things going on here. Liberty Bell takes down some Nazi spies and at the same time teaches a lesson to young women about pitching into the war effort. All right. Robot Man saves his impersonator from gangsters, and then the impersonator saves Robot Man. Crazy. There was a recent CGC sale from September 2019 for $400 for this issue. I don't know. These issues, I'm not gonna lie, these don't do it for me. The stories aren't all that exciting. Heck, the Robot Man story was probably the most interesting one I found out of this whole issue. Next up, Superman 25 DC, November, December 1943. It's not an exciting cover, but it's yellow, so things pop on those covers. If you look at a collage of all the Superman covers for the first, up to 25, there's so many that are yellow. I think it was like 7 out of the first 10 are mainly yellow covers. So clearly the artist knew that the yellow was making a big difference in the covers. So you have 4 Superman stories in this issue. First up, Superman refuses to help an army major who is being framed as being the head of a Nazi spy organization. And Superman always helps those in need, but he just didn't feel this guy deserved it. Then Clark Kent goes undercover at the Army Air Force's training base to prove they have a tough program, and Superman helps some cadets along the way. It's a very heartwarming story. Superman saves a comic creator whose stories poke fun at Hitler from Nazi saboteurs. And finally, Superman is challenged by a criminal named Hijack to stop him as he pulls off heists to cover his stock market losses. I don't know why these bad guys are always taunting the good guys. It just never works out for them. Most recent CGC sale I could find for this is an 8.5 from September of 2020 for $1,275. Now that seems to be a more reasonable price to pay for a high-grade Golden Age comic. Next up, Wow Comics number 19, November 1943, got Mary Marvel. I like this cover. Mary Marvel cover. So she's flying around a lot in her covers, and yeah, they're actually decent covers. I like them. Good action. In this one, Mary Marvel travels back in time to reform a pirate whose ghost is a bad influence. So somehow the ghost comes to life in the present and tries to influence his heir to do bad things. So Mary Marvel somehow gets permission from Father Time to go back in time and reform the pirate. And then his ghost in the present says, no, don't do bad things. Why not? Most recent CGC sale I could find was 5.5 for November of 2020 for $185. Not a big premium for this one, I don't think. Now that'll do it for November 1943. And after this, we'll move on to December 1943. But this is from Wow Comics number 19. It's Mary Marvel's story. So the pirate is shooting Mary Marvel. The bullet bounces off her, hits him in the eye, and his eye pops out. I just thought that was the craziest thing. Awesome. All right, December 1943. It was first up is Action Comics number 67. Superman's on the cover, and he's on the case, dumping some coal on some bad guys. Superman reunites an old feuding couple, moves their homes, puts a stop to a ring of thieves, and clears out the remaining buildings in a neighborhood, then finally builds a new Army officer training school. It was a lot of work for Superman just to get that Army officer training school built and off the ground. And then Zatara puts a stop to some thieves that like to wear costumes during Mardi Gras. So they wear costumes during Mardi Gras and they go undercover or seem to fly under the radar to pull off their heists. You have a recent CGC 8.5 sale from November 2020 for $2,160. Next up, Adventure Comics number 89, December, January 1943. This is another one where the covers just aren't that great. They usually feature Sandman and Sandy on the cover, but I don't see it. The covers don't do it for me. Sandman gets involved when a bookkeeper dreams up the perfect crimes. He literally dreams of the perfect crimes, and the bad guys go and pull off these heists. Starman is up against the Sun and Saturn, who are trying to steal a huge emerald. So Starman up against a couple star and planet. It's a good time. A recent CGC 9.2 sale from November 2019 for $1,440. Next up, All American Comics number 54, December 1943. Green Lantern is on guard when truckloads of artwork are being moved from a museum to a safer location, and the case leads to double crosses and attempted thefts. I should say, it's an okay cover. I mean, got decent action, Lots going on. Doiby, Green Lantern, Hop Harrigan in the corner. Not a big Hop fan. I don't read his stories. And you got the Atom who disguises himself and goes undercover in a grafting ring to take them apart from the inside. Yeah, I wouldn't have known what grafting was until I read this story, or would have known specifically. Turns out grafting is when you're shaking down the business owners for protection money. It's that kind of racket. Kind of see a lot in the movies, comics, all that stuff. Apparently it's called grafting, or certainly was in the 1940s. Next up, Dr. Midnight uses a device to shrink himself so small he can enter a gunshot victim through his pores, so the pores of his skin, and then shrink a bullet lodged near his heart. He then catches the shooter. Think about that. You have a recent CGC 7.0 sale from August 2013 for $294. Now, just for fun, I looked it up. There's only 7 blue labels on the Centus. So the last CGC sale I could find was from 7 years ago. That's a long time. I don't think this is a comic that's really readily available. Not a lot on the Census, not a lot of sales. So, I mean, if you see it, this might be the book to pick up. Next up, All Select Comics 2, Winter 1943-1944 is an Alex Schomburg cover. So, of course, I mean, you've got that huge timely, it's a timely book, sorry. You have this huge timely banner, and you've got a lot of Schomburg details crammed into the rest of the page. Lots of action, lots going on with the Torch, Captain America, Submariner, all creating havoc and destruction. In the first story, Captain America must stop the Red Skull when he goes on a spree, destroying war plants in America, and disguises himself as hospital staff. That's how he gets away. Disguised hospital staff, like, oh. Next up, Human Torch gets to the bottom of the stolen meat trucks hijacked by the company's owner to sell on the black market and to collect the insurance money. What a clever scheme. Not only are stealing from yourself to be able to resell on the black market at a higher price, but you're also collecting on the insurance money. Crazy stuff. Submariner destroys a secret island that houses Japanese military base. That houses a Japanese military base that breeds huge sea monsters. Craziness. So I'm going to say this is the book of the week. You've got Alex Schomburg cover, Captain America, Human Torch, Submariner, great cover. You've got Red Skull as well. It's one of the bad guys, villains, protagonist. And the most recent CGC sale I could find was a 3.0 from May of 2018 for $1,795. That's the big book of the week. I don't know if I'll feature a big book of the week, but this is it. Clear winner. Last up, All-Star Comics number 19. It's DC Winter 1943-1944. So as usual, All-Star Comics is a full-length story featuring Just Society of America. It's the usual guys. No, the roster has not changed. Hawkman, Starman, Dr. Fate, the Spectre, Sandman, Dr. Midnight, the Atom, Johnny Thunder. And of course, Wonder Woman is the secretary. Don't get me started on that. I've already addressed it. I don't know why she's just a secretary. It's a ridiculous use of her talents. But anyways, now in this story, it's revealed that all Justice Society members understand bird language because Hawkman taught them. So there you go. Which works out because Hawkman is held captive but gets messages out to the other members of the Justice Society using the birds, and it works out because they understand bird language. And it's warning them that a failed musician is out to get revenge on his childhood friends who happen to be successful musicians. And he didn't like that they became successful, and he was not. You have a recent CGC sale, 4.0 from June 2020 for $362. Seems a little low. I feel like this issue, I just feel like the All-Star Comics just have so many pretty popular characters in them. I'd figure it'd be a bigger draw, but maybe because Wonder Woman's not doing more. I figure, if she was doing more, these issues will be worth more. That's my guess. All right. So that'll do it for this week. That's been 10 issues. We're into December of 1943. I'm working through my spreadsheet. I think December is a pretty big month, end of the quarter, so I'll be working through that probably for the next couple of episodes. Stick with me. Maybe we'll find out what the big book of the week is next week. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to sign off.